Hey everybody, it's Bounty here, and we've got some Titanfall 2 gameplay with the flatline. Now, the gameplay isn't going to be the main topic of this video, so hopefully you guys aren't too bothered about that, because what we're going to be covering is something that's happened recently in New Zealand, is we've been having massive quakes and massive aftershocks, along with a lot of flooding, a small tornado, and what else have we had? We've had heavy downpours and very gusty winds. So I'd just like to talk about that for this video. And besides that, on the Titanfall 2 front, this is some flatline gameplay. Top performing gameplay, we come first in this match. And in this game, we actually stomp them. They don't have much chance. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show while we take a look at the earthquake, what's happening, and really what's going on here in New Zealand. So what happened on Sunday night is we were all asleep, and then at midnight I got woken up and my partner was saying, hey, you know, there's an earthquake, and everything was shaking around, everything's going crazy, and we started panicking because it didn't go for 10 seconds, it didn't go for 30 seconds, it actually went for a minute and a half. Now, if you know what earthquakes are like, they're not too bad most of the time, but when they last a minute and a half, and when they are a 7.8 magnitude, then you sort of go, geez, even though I'm okay, even though my house is okay, where did this happen? What's it going to look like outside? And it's midnight. Am I going to get back to sleep? So we'll cut to the chase. When we got up on Monday morning, barely slept that night. Work was cancelled. I worked from home on that day, but most people had the full day off work, and because I was working from home, couldn't make videos for you guys. And yeah, it was very eerie. Not many people were around, and the CBD, which is town, it was actually closed because it was too dangerous for people to go in there. And what they had to do is assess all the buildings, which we'll get to later on about, you know, the assessments and things like that. And it was pretty spooky because watching the news, not only did we have tons of aftershocks, and we still are having aftershocks, but seeing the damage, at first it was mostly landslides, roads being blocked off, train tracks moving about 20 meters to the right of, well, sorry, to the left of where they should be. Just the general sort of destruction you would imagine. And there was a few buildings of smashed glass, smashed windows. There was one house that completely caved in on itself, a few houses missing walls and things like that. So we were quite lucky that it wasn't right smack bang in the centre of the capital. It was off the coast a little bit. But then as it progressed and people woke up and started looking around, we realised that there were potholes that were missing, there were massive cracks in the road, there were cracks in the land, there were more landslides, there were mini landslides in places where you wouldn't expect it, and things basically started getting worse and worse from there. And some buildings were completely off limits because they were going to fall down, or they had parts missing, or the roof had caved in, or the floor had collapsed. But besides those, we'll say 40 to 60 buildings, the rest of the town, the rest of the buildings were okay. But what's scary is that as the week progressed, more and more buildings have been deemed unsafe. More and more buildings have been at risk of collapse. And these buildings have been used on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and only just today some of them have been deemed unsafe. So we're pretty lucky that the aftershocks we're having are going the opposite direction. They're getting smaller and smaller, because if we started having massive jolts, or if the next quake was larger, or if the aftershocks were larger, there would be a lot of people in those buildings that, you know, could be in serious danger. And that's why we're so lucky, is that the quake happened at midnight, so there weren't people in these buildings, there weren't people at town, there weren't people commuting. Most of us were tucked up and safe, and all of the roads that cracked and broke and slipped away, and all the slips that came down and smashed the roads, we were lucky that there weren't many if any, drivers on those roads at the time. But just in general, it's quite surprising how this is the largest quake we've had in 100 years. Well, just over 100 years. And it only took 1 day for the all clear. So we had Monday off, and by Tuesday the CBD was open. A few places were cordoned off, a few of the buildings risked collapse, but everyone was back to work. And as the week has progressed, people have been identifying cracks in stairwells, sloping floors, other buildings that are at risk, car parks that have massive structural cracks that are going to fall down any time. And to be honest, we're really lucky that there hasn't been a massive aftershock, because had there have been, there still could be one, so hopefully I'm not jinxing it, but had there have been one, a lot of these buildings could have gone south, could have fallen down, and not only that, they could have injured, if not killed, a lot of people. And as the mayor, or as the people, you know, calling the shots, fire brigade and things like that, it would be really heartbreaking, and I just, personally, if it was me, I couldn't live with it. But yeah, to deem that the city is safe, and then all of these flaws are found. So a lot of questioning's going on for the engineers who were checking the buildings, whether they just stood outside, gave it a look up and down, tapped a wall with a hammer and said, yep, she'll be right, no worries, or whether they actually went inside, checked the supports, checked the stairwells, checked the floors, made sure things were level, and actually gave it a thorough look through. But a bit of positive news that has come out today is that any aftershock over 5 magnitude, all of the buildings have to be re-looked at. And I think that's quite good, because we've had a few aftershocks that have been 5 or greater, and the initial checks may have been fine, and yes, you know, these buildings may have been okay at the time, but possibly these aftershocks have widened the cracks or caused additional cracking, and it's the fact that they're not being rechecked that people are now finding the issues. That's possibly what's happening. There are a few concerning things about some superficial damage on our motorway, which a lot of cars take every single day, every morning, a lot of trucks, a lot of congestion, and I feel as though personally, this is just my personal thought, that things like motorways haven't really been thoroughly checked, because it's almost impossible in 1 day to check all of the buildings, all of the motorways, all of the places the public can go, zoos and things like that, to make sure that everything is safe, to make sure there's only superficial damage and that everything is structurally sound. But in this case, it seems as though that's what had happened. Everything was checked on Monday, everything was given the A-OK on Monday except for the places that were obviously about to crumble, and now we're sort of looking a bit closer at these things going, actually, hey, there is a bit of damage, I think I need to tell someone about this. And now the council is going, whoopsie, we're sorry we missed that, please everyone evacuate now because this is serious risk, it could fall anytime soon, and that doesn't really improve our confidence. But anyway, enough about Wellington. I would just like to, you know, have a moment's silence for the people down south, because they are going through some hard times. I've got the Navy down there trying to help them out, people giving them food, giving them water, giving them shelter, all those types of things, and they have fared a lot worse than people in the capital, in Wellington. So we'll just start that now for a few seconds. Alrighty, and on that note, if any of you guys out there have experienced the quakes, whether they've been in New Zealand or somewhere else, let me know what you guys did during the quakes. Let me know what you guys have in your security, well, not security stashes, but in your, you know, let me know what you have tucked away in event of emergency, first aid packs, water, things like that. And yeah, basically, you know, I'll look at all the comments and let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in and watching some Titanfall 2 gameplay while you listen about the earthquake that we've had, and I'll share some links below to some of our news sites. So if you want to see pictures, if you want to read up a bit more about it, you're more than welcome. Just click on the links below and feel free to drop a comment after, let me know what you guys think. Alrighty, I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great night.